It's pasta time! Few things are easier or more delicious than fresh handmade pasta. So simple, 5 ingredients: flour, eggs, salt, oil, a little splash of water, a little bit of time, but the results are always stunning. So we'll start off with our flour. I'm going to just sift it into the bowl here. I'm going to start mixing it in the bowl. Of course, you can probably use a food processor, stand mixer if you want. I am going with the classic method with the hand mixed. So we've got our flour sifted nice and smooth. We're going to make a little well right in the flour. That's where we're going to put our wet ingredients. Also going to add our salt. Need that flavor. Eggs. I'm using yolks and whole eggs. Yolks is what is going to give it that beautiful golden color. A couple turns of olive oil. A splash of water. Saving a little bit if we need it. Our dough gets a little too dry. Okay, now we have all of our wet ingredients in our well. Keeping our little wall up there so we can slowly incorporate our flour and hydrate our dough as we mix it. Mix our eggs together with our oil, slowly working the flour in from the outside. And we are mixing, slowly incorporating the flour from the outside and making that nice smooth dough. A little more as you need it. It's coming together. I'm using a fork right now because if you move in there with your hands right away, it's going to be a sticky mess, as you can see, until we start bringing in more of that flour to make the dough come together. Still remains quite sticky. Okay, so now we've got that. You can see dough coming together. Coming nice and smooth. And at this point, I'm going to just try and work in all that flour. I'm going to move it onto our work surface. Dust it a little bit, take our dough, spread it out, and we're just going to start kneading it together, coming together, really hydrate it, working the extra flour in as we go. Looks like we're not going to need all the flour. It's nice, smooth dough we're going to work here. Incorporate all the flour it needs. It's also kind of it's really a go by feel process. If you feel like you need a little more liquid, just add a little more liquid. If you feel like your dough is already wet enough, have enough wet ingredients in there, then you should be good. If it's too wet, again, just continue to add a little bit extra flour is needed. You see our dough came together, still a little dry in there. So we want to really knead it and work all that dry dough together so we have a nice, smooth, uniform dough with no dry pockets or dry spots in it when we roll it out into whatever shape we want. Again, the possibilities are endless. Lasagna sheets, raviolis, agnolotti, spaghetti, pappardelle, fettuccine. You can do hand rolled pasta. You can make tortellini. Today we're just going to roll it out into the pasta sheets, and then we're just going to cut some fettuccine out of it. maybe a little spaghetti, and just keep it simple. So as you can see, our dough is nice, smooth. You touch it, it starts coming back, it's becoming elastic. We are working the gluten. After we do this, we're gonna let it rest for at least a half an hour. Cover it with plastic, let all the gluten relax. If we try and roll it out right now, you're gonna get long sheets that just come right back together. You're not gonna get that nice, long, smooth pasta sheet. So we gotta let it rest, let that gluten rest. And now we just wanna work it and fully hydrate it as we're doing this kneading process. Okay, all right. Have our nice smooth pasta dough. We're working into a little ball, flatten it a little bit. This is where we'll wrap it with plastic and let it rest for 30 minutes. Okay, it's been about 30 minutes. Dough has rested. Have time to do the dishes, take the dog for a walk, you know, do something around the house, wash your hands. Okay, now we've got the dough. I'm going to keep the plastic wrap because we're going to divide this in about 4 equal pieces. Cut it. We're going to work with 1 piece at a time. Again, having all of our stuff ready, we need. Rewrap that dough so it doesn't dry out. We'll just set it off to the side. Okay, now we've got a more manageable piece of dough. Over here we've got our pasta roller, and we will be using the cutter attachment. Again, fettuccine, spaghetti. We'll do ravioli out of the pasta sheets that I'll show you we're gonna roll. Got our rolling pin. Going to lightly flour our work surface. Don't want to add too much flour because it will make the dough tough again, but you want to have enough to where it doesn't stick. I'm going to roll. I'm going to help out the pasta roller here. When you begin, if you try and shove that big chunk of dough in there, you're not going to roll it, it's just going to rip it and tear it, and probably stress out your pasta roller. Okay, so we got a little bit of flour on each side. I'll keep it from sticking. I'm gonna start over here on the 1, moving up as we roll 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, depending on how thin or thick you want your pasta. So we start putting this through. And got our first roll, and we're gonna do a tri-fold. Bring it back together. This is going to square off our pasta, get nice even sides there. Do this 1 time, 2 times, 3 times. Don't want to do it too many times. Again, you overwork the dough and it'll become too tough to roll out. Okay, so. And that pasta machine does not sound good. Probably gonna need a new one soon. Have my KitchenAid as well, but of course the gears on that are broken too. So we have to work with what we have. Now, if we wanted to make other shapes of pasta, we could just cut these into little squares, make little, you can just tear it. Ones like that, roll it off your thumb. Create little shapes like that, little spot for the sauce to go. Hold it. Again, if you don't have a pasta roller, real easy. Just cut little pieces. Roll. You don't want your floured surface. You want it to stick to the surface. Roll it off your thumb. Again, pretty easy little pasta shape if you don't have a pasta roller. But going to continue rolling this now. Sometimes if you don't let your pasta dry for just a little bit before you cut it, they'll stick together. So you just take them and peel them apart. So now we've got our fettuccine. Now, I'm gonna move on and show you how simple this is. Just gonna boil it. Nice thing about fresh pasta, it takes literally 2 to 3 minutes to cook. Hardly any time at all. All right, we've got our fettuccine noodles. I'm gonna take our nest over. Turn our water up. Gonna bring it to a boil. Going to salt it. It's real nice and salty. Want it to taste like the ocean. Alright, water is boiling. Take our fresh noodles, put them right in. Give them a nice little stir. Got our sauce over here, hot and ready to go. Just gonna bring that back up to a boil. Give our sauce a little bit of heat. Now bring it back up to a boil. Cook it for maybe 30 seconds to a minute longer, depending on your thickness of your pasta. This one was a little thick, probably could have gone to 5 or 6, but oh well. These noodles are thick. All right, we've got it here. Got our pasta cooked, ready to go. Take it out. Add it to our sauce, whichever sauce you like. You can make Alfredo, homemade marinara I have here. Open up a can of Prego. Little pesto sauce, butter, olive oil, garlic, whatever you want. All right. Look how easy that was. What? Invested about an hour. Take the pasta out, throw it on your plate. Save some of that. Get a little extra splash of sauce on there. Some fresh herbs, little parsley, basil, oregano, fresh grated Romano. That's it. Fresh pasta. Simple, easy, and delicious.